Hey guys, so this is MetaHuman. This is Jeremy with Quincy, Mike, and Kari, and today we're going to be talking about the movie Parasite, which is a Korean film that you may have heard of because it won 4 Oscars last year. So I guess this overall,
Not last year? I thought it was this year. No?
was it last year? This year?
Oh, it counts for last year, but the awards were this year.
Well, the 2020, okay, the 2020 Oscars, but it was for the movies of 2019. Yeah, okay, whatever. Same difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what did you guys? I mean, we've all seen the movie. Quite recently, honestly. And so, what did you guys think overall? I
I
mean,
think I so thankfully it released on Hulu, so I was able to catch it this past Saturday. Originally, it was hard for me because I'm just not used to watching movies. I mean, of course, I watch Korean dramas, and that's fine. But then I was expecting it because I think when you say won an Oscar, I was expecting it to at least have English dialogue, and I was just surprised that it had all Korean dialogue. And so I was kind of like, it was, I think, a little bit for me to get over, and then I just kind of switched my brain to Korean mode, and then it was like fine.
yeah, I know that a lot of people were upset by that it won. The picture of the year, I think, was one of the Oscars. That people were
Mhm.
upset that it won that because and in fact, it was all in Korean, right?
Right.
Well, they did say it was the first foreign film. Like
Yeah,
before anything, we already knew it was a foreign film.
Right, right.
yeah.
What does it count for, like, the picture of the year?
Well,
Like,
that's the
what
largest.
makes well,
That's like
what makes
Oh yeah, what's the
picture of the
criteria?
year?
Right, what's the
Yeah.
criteria? Of
I don't
picture of the
know.
year?
I don't know what the criteria
Because
is.
honestly, okay, when I first saw it, I
Yeah.
was like, this one picture of the year, like,
I know. Train to Busan. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
know, but it's like, what makes picture of the year? That's what I
Right.
want
Like,
to
is it the
know.
cinematography or is it the story? Is it the
Mhm.
dialogue? That's a good question,
Because
actually.
when I watch it, I've seen other Korean movies, and I mean, it's the same
standard.
feel. Like, they look like the same feel. So what
Yeah.
makes this movie stand out from all the other movies?
Yeah.
Well, I was watching some other people talk about it before we had this conversation
I
right
mean,
now,
isn't it voted on
and
though?
and majority of the people said that it has a deeper meaning to it than just what you guys think the movie is.
So is that
Like it resembles a lot of things in real life.
right? So
know,
does that
Yeah.
mean that? So I'm in that context, right? Does that mean that the story is the reason why it won Picture of the Year? Or is it like the combination of like the actors were really good, the story was really good, and the cinematography was really good, and and it was a deeper story that the whole Parasite movie was all about. Like, I guess I feel like if you compare it to other things like album of the year or entertainer of the year for country music, like those are the high points of these awards. And so since picture of the year is such a high point for any
Yeah.
Oscars win, what combination did it have that made it like picture of the year? you know
So how many times have you guys watched it though?
Only,
I,
well, for me
Once,
only
yeah.
once.
I watched
Because
it twice.
yeah, because I know my dad, he watched it like probably last night was the fourth time.
Well, he must have enjoyed it then. Did he watch it with
But
you? Is that
I
why?
think the more that you keep watching it, the more that you realize there's other meanings behind it too.
Right, that's what Mike was
Because
saying.
when you Google it, you're like, oh, what's the meaning behind Parasite?
Yeah.
And the answer that I'm seeing is not the answer that me and my dad was talking about.
What? Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
we'll probably get into the more like spoilery part of our whole show, but for right now, we're definitely talking about what your initial thoughts were, and I think like for you had interpreted a certain way,
Mhm.
and when you look online, other people are kind of like either finding different meanings or deeper meanings, which I guess that could probably make it like a movie that's everyone is talking about can make it Oscar worthy because it has multiple
Yeah.
meanings for different people. I mean, I guess for you, Michael, like what did the movie mean to you, and like was it a direct like one to one, you're like, hey, this is, you know, a family doing these things, and you know, like kind of just infiltrating this place, or like what were the different meanings, or what was one meaning that you saw for yourself?
I don't think I could really touch on it without any spoilers, but
Okay.
I know watching it the first time is like, man, that's just a crazy movie in a general sense, right? It's just
Right.
I watched this movie, I understand what happened between these families, and it's like, man, that's just so crazy. But when I watched it the second time, my overall thought of the movie changed, you know, because I was trying to look at it in a different way. And when I
Right.
saw it the second time with a different view of it, then it's like, okay, now I feel like it's trying to tell me something completely different than what it told me the first time, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I was the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Jeremy? What you think?
I mean, I think it was by the halfway through the movie, it started to make it started to like the reason why it was called Parasite in the first place, started to make a lot of sense to me. Because not gonna lie, when I first heard about the movie, I thought it was like a horror
Alien.
film. Yeah. Or
Yeah,
like a
Parasite. Like,
Yeah, that's what I thought
yeah,
too.
that's what I
I thought it was gonna
initially
invade
thought.
people's bodies.
Yeah, I literally thought it was gonna be about like, oh, alien parasites are infecting everyone. It's gonna be like a zombie apocalypse sort of film, right? But then, then I guess when I started watching it, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it's obviously not the case. It's called Parasite for another reason. But yeah, I mean, I can definitely see why there's so many different. People would say there's different meanings behind it, because there's a lot of subtle nuances. When I was watching it my first playthrough, first through, and then, I mean, I didn't watch the whole movie again, but I did like watch individual scenes on YouTube later on, just because I thought those scenes were really cool or shot really really well. But I noticed like a few little minor details that I might have missed in my first run through.
For the people that haven't watched the movie yet, Jeremy, can you just give them a rundown of like what the movie's about?
Uh, yeah. So Parasite. Okay, it's a little bit complicated to explain. So Parasite is a movie following two Korean families, one from a poverty-stricken area and one from a rich suburban neighborhood area. So the the poor one is out of jobs and have no future and are living in a destitute place, right? But they eventually were able to one of the son is able to land a job working as a tutor for this rich family, and from there he's able to manipulate the wife of the rich family in order to get the rest of his family jobs within the household, right? And so they slowly start to take over um, the daily activities within the house, and then from there you can kind of start seeing why it's called parasites, because they start becoming like these parasitic beings where they start invading the rich people's lifestyles.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think definitely well put.
Yeah, that was on point. 100%.
Yeah.
100% on
Yeah.
point.
I thought he was gonna stay the whole entire movie there.
I know, it's like
I was like,
it's kind
I
of
don't
hard
need to
Are we
not
gonna
watch this
sit here?
movie.
Are we gonna sit here for an hour or something?
I
Yeah, we
should
don't
like
need to
look
watch
up a
that movie.
synopsis, but yeah, I mean, it's like it's very hard to like explain like parts, like, you know, a general broad view of it without really explaining like uh detailed events
Hmm.
that occurs in the movie, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because like there's, like I said, there's a lot of events that take place that explain in a very small nuanced way, you could say, was why it's called Parasite, or what the story's about.
What would you rate the film?
Mm, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I definitely would say it's up there. Like, I definitely do think it's like it definitely deserves the Oscars is one.
Hmm.
No, I definitely do think that, because like even for like just like a film in general, it was done really really well. You know, the cinematography was on point. The lighting, the actors were also extremely good, and the story was actually well written. So I would say I'd give it, you know, like around a 9.
Let's see.
8 or
Okay.
9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Quincy?
I'm definitely giving it like an 8 out of 10. I don't know if it definitely struck me as a 9. I mean,
What's
I
a 10
definitely,
for you? What's a 10?
I mean, like I don't think in any reality like there's a 10 movie, you know what I mean? But I mean, the good thing was that like it's hard for me most of the times when I watch a movie, I'm looking at the actors and the actresses and making sure they're hot, and that's great. That already pushes it at least by a 6. But yeah,
But there's an
the
ugly person. That's it. That's it. That
yeah.
movie's a 2.
Well,
That movie's a
you know,
2.
like I thought definitely the main guy, the young guy, was really attractive. So I was like, oh, this is actually a pretty good movie. I mean, it was. I mean, Koreans in general actually are pretty good looking, overall. Like, and then I thought the wife was hot. She looked good,
So,
like.
so basically, what I'm hearing is has nothing to do with the story whatsoever.
No, that gets it to a 6. That definitely gets it to a 6. And then, like,
Because you haven't said anything about the story
Yeah.
whatsoever.
So 6
Oh
points
my
goes
God.
because the actors were hot, and then
Yeah.
2 more points because the story was good.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what? I think, a really good story is definitely where you have twist. I mean, I enjoy a good movie where you have a twist in the middle or the end, and it just catches you off guard. So, I mean, yeah, I would say like 8. 8 would be my number.
How about you, Kari?
I think mine is probably between 7 and 8.
Wow, just getting lower and lower.
I know. We went from 8 to
We
9
set
to
the bar
8
high.
to 7 to 8.
9,
Because
8, 7.
I think it's to me to make it a higher rating for me. It has to catch me at the first time.
Right. Yeah.
Really?
This movie I had to
Make a good
watch
first
it
impression.
I had to watch it another time. Then I started to realize like the meaning behind it,
Mm-hmm.
But there's movies out there that have really caught my eye, which can be a 10, but it's just that this movie didn't really wow it for me.
How about you, Mike?
I'm with Jeremy. I'd probably give it like a 9. Yeah, for sure.
So what parts of it for you made it a 9?
I think it held a deeper meaning to me because when it showed like what poor people had to go through in that movie, I can relate to it on a personal level. So I
Sure.
know what it feels like to be like that.
Yeah.
And I think it just made it more powerful for me to watch it. So I
Yeah.
think, as far as like when people rate movies, personally, I think it's just how much you can really connect with that movie, right?
Yeah, it's really how much you can relate to the characters
Yeah.
and the story.
Okay, so let's get into some spoilers now.
This is our
Because now
favorite part.
that's just
Yeah.
the meat and
Favorite part.
potatoes now. We could just have our full argument
No
about
holding
everything
back.
right now.
No holding back.
Okay, first scene.
Yeah. First thing, everyone's hot.
Wait. What was everyone's favorite scene in the movie? I'm just curious.
Oh, I mean, that scene was pretty hilarious. Well, I mean, my dad watched it. I think that
Which
was
one?
his favorite scene too, but it's when the parents were on the couch.
My favorite. That's my favorite part. That's my favorite.
Oh, and they were hiding underneath the table.
It's so funny.
Oh, and then they were starting to, okay.
Like they're doing
that
it right in front of them?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my
That was
God.
my favorite part too. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, if we're kind of like talking about different parts of the movie. I mean, I definitely enjoyed the whole part where they were becoming the parasites, where you just see the families, kind of slowly, like how they planned that whole takeover was pretty impressive for me. And it flowed so well. Like even though like the sister kind of Googled, what art psychology was, like it made it perfect. Like I feel like a good movie is something that explains a lot of like things. Like it didn't make sense for me why the sister knew so much about art and why she like had this psychological like guessing, but like in the movie they explained why she said that. She Googled it and she just took a stab in the dark and went from there. And I appreciate movies like that because you're kind of thinking to yourself like, how did that even happen? Like how was that possible? So I feel like the movie itself was very thorough in terms of like explaining why things happen, like why the person was down there, like why she came back. Like there was just answers to everything, and it kind of left a lot of things unresolved, but then still kept a mystery to it at the end. So I'm like, oh, this feels good. And I think that's mainly the reason why it probably won, like you said, picture of the year. Like it just did a really thorough job, in terms of everything. So, but yeah, what was your favorite scene, Mike?
I don't think I had like a favorite scene, but I think the most powerful scene to me was when their house flooded and it showed
Yeah.
the
Oh
kind of
yeah.
things that they had to do, because it was so overrun by water,
Yeah,
Right,
that
right.
was my favorite scene
I
too.
wonder if remember when the guy was peeing like near their house, and then they came around and the guy was throwing the water. I wonder if that was kind of like a foreshadowing, right? Like, oh, here, and like everyone's spraying, like having a good time, spraying water on each other, and then it was all in slow motion, and the girl was recording it, and I was like, well, this is kind of interesting, very artistic. I thought that was kind of neat, to see.
I think I
But
question why is the toilet up there?
I
Did you
hated
have
that.
Oh, I
to walk
know. It was so
upstairs,
high, right?
walk up that
It was
small little stairs just to go
damn.
use the toilet?
Yeah.
I
That
honestly don't
that was
know.
my question.
I was thinking the same thing
I was
too.
like, are Korean places, like the ones that are underground, is their toilet really up there?
Yeah,
Right?
slummy.
It's like you're over here brushing your teeth and you're like butt level to your sister,
I know. It's like,
Those
what the hell?
particles. It was cool too to see like the Wi-Fi, like that. Hey, we're looking for Wi-Fi, and then they found it like right there with like after the new cafe opened up. So there was a kind of lot. There was a charm to it. There was really good moments, and I think it did a good job. Like
It definitely portrayed, how poor people live a life versus how rich people live their life.
Yeah.
It really
contrast.
yeah, like it really showed very well like how other people think about certain things, right? Like I know I was watching some a person talk about it, and they were saying that when it had that rain scene, it showed how the rich people reacted to it, saying, "Oh, it's raining, so our plans, we had to
Yeah.
cancel the plans, but it's so nice that it's raining outside," versus when you see the poor people, their house is just being destroyed by it. It's
Right.
like
Well,
it
and then
really gives you the both
yeah,
sides of the story, right?
and then you see their reaction like after
The next
the
day.
storm. The next day, you see how the rich family, how the wife looked outside and said, "Oh, it's such a nice day," after the rain, like it made
Yeah.
everything look nice and green and whatever.
Mm.
But then, and it cuts to the other family. They're literally in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they're
Yeah. Poor
sleeping, right?
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's so
and,
crazy.
and that's what I mean by like this movie really symbolizes a lot of things in real life, and I
Yeah.
think it makes you think about things that we don't think about, right? Because we go about our day and if something happens, it's like, oh man, well that sucks, but we don't think about what happens to other people in the same scenario, right?
Right. Right. I mean, even there was symbolism in the whole situation where, like he kept that money rock with him, and you think like, oh, hey, this is how they're getting rich, right? Like it's the money rock, and then,
It
and
literally kills him. I mean,
yeah,
not kills him,
Yeah.
but
it knocks him out for
it
sure.
destroys. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
I
mean,
thought
it
that was
kind of
kind of neat.
symbolized maybe that, money will destroy you.
Yeah, smash you in the head.
Yeah. No matter how, like, there's people out there that are so greedy about money, right? And it's
Yeah.
literally going to destroy you.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
they don't
Yeah.
realize that.
No, that's true. And like, so my friend was asking me, like, how do you survive like a rock like that falling on your head twice?
I know.
That's kind of unreal.
Well,
was
how
like,
do you? It's like how do you survive without any like serious brain injury?
right.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he had a brain injury.
Yeah.
They definitely showcased that he had a brain injury.
I know, but I mean, at the end, it didn't seem like he was that affected by it.
Maybe.
There's
Yeah.
another thing that also caught me the second and third time I watched it, and then I think like me and my dad were talking about it, was the whole part, when they were in the gym, and then he was asking his dad, what's our plan? What's the next plan? And like the dad is saying, plans don't
Matter.
plans,
Yeah.
yeah, they don't matter because
Yeah.
you're
Like,
gonna end
the
up.
best plan is no plan, right?
Yeah,
Or
best plan is no
or
plan.
you don't
And
have to worry about your plans failing if
yeah,
you don't have a plan.
so that's why that stuck with me. When you watch it, you see how the son is always a planner,
Yep.
and look where it caught him.
Yeah.
So at the end, he's planning all of this. So that's
Right,
why for me, I felt like the ending part, spoiler alert, like I felt like that was just him thinking and that's not real. Like he's never gonna get to the point where he's gonna have enough money to buy that house to get his dad out of the house.
right.
How do you
That
feel
was
about it, Jeremy?
No, I think it's real. I think they're just showing the future of it already while he was writing the letter.
No.
Yeah.
He's not gonna get to that point.
No, I think it's they wanted to end it on keep it open on a positive note.
It was weird. Yeah, the ending was kind of like, I guess you have to leave it up for interpretation because, like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess I understand. Yeah, he was a Boy Scout, so he could read the Morse code, and then it kind of motivated him. But I thought he was brain damaged. Like he kept laughing and stuff. Like,
That was when he first woke up, though, right?
oh really?
That was
And
only
then he kinda
when he first
recovered.
woke up. Yeah, he was recovering. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, maybe.
So spoiler alert for you guys, the director actually came out about the ending and said that there was no possibility of the son ever getting that house. Like he
There's
actually
no
admitted it.
way.
Yeah. He said it was a dream, like what Kari said. But even the director said that
Jeremy.
it was just an idea that the
Mhm.
son had.
Yeah.
But he said and realistically there was no way or possibility that the
Yeah.
son would ever end up doing that.
Yeah.
Is what the director said.
That is totally unrealistic. I mean, I believe that 100%. Not 100%, but maybe 80%.
But I guess my next question for you guys is how did you feel when it was finally revealed that there was another family in the house in the basement?
That was like,
Well, okay. So the thing was, I knew that the original housekeeper was keeping a secret in the basement.
how did you know that?
Well, just because like the way she was like acting when I think when she was first introduced to the scene, when she was asked to go get plums or something from downstairs, like she just had this sort of look in her eye, something that normally that indicates like, oh, it looks like she was hiding or keeping a secret down in the basement. So I thought it was something else, like, oh, maybe she was poisoning the family secretly because she hated them. But I mean, I didn't know it was gonna be like, oh, she has her husband hidden down in that
Yeah.
bunker.
I feel like the family's reaction to that was like that just sent chills down my spine. Where she's like, "Hey, I'm coming in. It's raining. It's like I really need to come.
Yeah.
I still talk to the boy, and the boy said they're gonna go camping.
And she was acting weird, right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
so.
She wasn't her normal self. She was acting weird
Yeah, and
in
then
that part.
that sent chills down my spine, and the fact that she was going down, and then she was pushing the plum thing, and then
Yeah.
the guy helped, push the cabinet, and then there's that door, and then I'm like, oh, I got chicken skin. I was like, this is unreal. Like I don't even know what's happening right now. Yeah, that was scary. I mean, it was suspenseful, I should say.
What's crazy is how the family never knew about like that room altogether for so long.
I mean, they kept saying in the film, they're so dumb.
Yeah.
They're literally dumb. So
Wait.
you can do anything, they won't even know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But it's like in this day and age, it's like when you buy a house, you usually get a tour of the house, right?
Well, only
So
the
it's like-
architect knew about it, the original owner, and he didn't tell the next family, right? So that was the reason why they knew. I mean, it also probably plays to the fact that the bunker was originally built because there was a fear at one point in Korea of North Korea invading them.
Oh, invading.
Yeah, or bombing them, right? Whichever one. So it's probably speaking to like a different time period as well, where compared to today Korea, where they don't really have to, or they're not as worried about it, so they don't have like those safety precautions like in their head, right?
Right.
As opposed to the older generation that did. So I thought that was at least I thought that was another contrast they were trying to get at.
I mean, well, I think that's what's really great is that like, you're intertwining history, you're intertwining culture, you're intertwining like, underlining messaging, symbolism. There's, I guess, like as we talk about it more, I'm like, hey, maybe it is a 9.
Yeah.
It's definitely like really huge meaning to that movie.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people grasped it until you watch it a few times,
Yeah. Well, and I think that's actually part of the reason why there was a huge stigma behind it, because you at first glance it almost, I mean, it's a foreign film, right? So that's already like something that you got to get out of your head. Like I was turned off like the second that I was watching it. I was like, oh my god, I got to read subtitles. Like I was like, oh man.
You
And then
watch
I was like,
subtitles all the time for anime.
I know, but I mean, I'm watching it with the intent that I know that subtitles are coming, not watching an Oscar movie that has like subtitles. So, you
Well,
know, I'm
Hey,
like, oh
can I ask this? Are you guys the type where you're watching like a foreign film and you still need to up the volume?
yes.
up the
I don't know
volume.
what to say.
Because I was doing that last night. It's like, turn up the volume. And my mom was like, you can't even understand them. I'm like, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, true.
That's
You
so,
got to hear the native
Yeah.
language. Being spoke,
that's so true.
Or
I
you
need
never
to be
know,
full force into it.
I think what's also different, and maybe Carrie can relate to this, like watching it as a Korean movie made me think of it a lot differently than if I was watching an American movie, because like my standards for like a Korean movie changes. Like I expect to cry, I expect to see drama, I expect the brother to be related to the husband who's the sister's, you know, cousin, right? Like you expect those kind of big reveals in a Korean drama, but um like watching this, I was like, oh, okay, well, is the storyline going to be straightforward like most, like, I mean, there's some deeper movies out there, for America, but for like a Korean movie or a Korean drama, like you expect these deeper symbolized, like interconnected, like I was surprised that the poor family wasn't related to the rich family, you know what I mean, in some way, because you expect that, when I
but
watch.
the two poor families were connected in one way. I think in one event. Right. I think there was something. There was a scene about them explaining something about like the shop that closed down or went bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that was something that was referenced by the other poor family. I think in an earlier scene.
Oh wow, okay, I missed that 100%. Missed that.
I mean, I don't quite remember what it was about, but it was. I know it had something to do with like some sort of shop or like cake shop or Taiwanese shop that went bankrupt and closed down, and it affected both of them.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So what do
Did
you?
you know that, Mike? Did you guys know that? I didn't see
No,
that.
no.
Totally missed that part. Unless you
What do
just.
you think about the little boy?
Oh,
Do you
okay. So
think
that was
he knew?
interesting.
He knew
Yeah,
the whole thing,
I think so because like
right?
the the husband who was stuck in the bunker, right? He was sending
Mhm.
messages at
Right.
random times, and
Yeah.
that
And
was
the
what
boy was a Boy Scout, could read it, right? He
that
wrote
was.
it.
Yeah, and that was what was causing his schizophrenia, where he like he would see ghosts or was afraid.
Well, I thought that the guy was the ghost. Wasn't the
Yeah,
guy the
he
ghost?
was the
Yeah.
ghost. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was
Okay.
the ghost. Yeah. So, but I mean, that was kind of brilliant. Where when the sister Jessica, right, from Illinois, she when she just accidentally touched upon the traumatic experience that the boy went
Mhm.
through,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right, just by googling what is art psychology and just noticed like a pattern. Like I
Mm-hmm.
thought, like, oh my god, that's well done because I'm not gonna say like a lot of upper families have like social or family issues, but
Mm-hmm.
they have been known to happen, right? Where the more money you have, families with wealth will sometimes have like these issues uh, within their marriages or some traumatic experience that happened in the past that no one really wants to talk about, especially within Asian families. Traumatic experiences or embarrassing events usually is never talked about in Asian
Mhm.
families and is always like swept under the rug, and then that thing kind of just builds up for young children. So I think that was what they were. I think at least that's why I felt like they were trying to portray with the little boy and the paintings.
Yeah.
And I feel like that plays a big role on what Quincy was talking about earlier, as far as like it being a foreign film or an American film. I don't think I can ever look at this movie the same if it was an American film. I think it had to be a foreign film for
Right.
people to really just understand,
Yeah.
because of their culture, right? An American culture and an Asian culture are completely different.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think like if like an American film or whatever were to do this, I
Yeah.
don't think they can portray the expressions that the Korean
Not
Yeah.
at all. Yeah, the
express.
emotion and the
Probably.
Yeah,
Maybe
Yeah.
not as well. Yeah.
yeah.
You know what's the funny part was when, the old maid, the old housekeeper came back, and they let the husband go, and they're all fighting, and then the family calls, the phone rings, and she's like, hello, and then
Yeah.
she's like, oh, can you make this? Like, oh, we
I
had a
know.
really bad day, and then
Yeah.
after that, she's like, how the hell do you make this? Like, what the
How do
hell
you
is
make
this?
ramdon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's like,
After that,
Yeah.
I was like craving Korean food.
yeah,
I want Korean food at freaking
Yeah.
3 a.m. in the morning.
yeah.
I want it now.
That was funny. I like that part. Like everything's all chaotic, and she's
I
like,
think for me, anytime I watch like Korean movies or Korean drama and there's food involved, I'm like, I'm craving.
"You're done."
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Honestly, I
It's
try
like,
not to watch any show with food in it, like
Mm-hmm.
past like 12
Oh.
o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah. The movie was so likable. I mean,
And
there's
then I think
really good parts. of it.
another thing, it's like the daughter. I was like, was she doing that to his friend too?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering
Mm.
too, because I was like, oh
It's
shoot,
like
like
this little player.
yeah, I was thinking like
This little
was-
player.
like
That's the
it
word.
creates such tension when you see them kiss. I'm like, oh, does your
I
friend
know.
know? Does your friend know?
Mm.
And that was actually, I mean, if there was one gripe that I had is like that part was kind of left unresolved. Like, okay, was the friend mad? Like,
Because the
does the friend-
son, he literally said that, when she goes to college, he wants to ask her out. And that's
Yeah.
what literally his friend
friend,
said in
yeah.
the beginning.
Right.
So I'm like, this girl.
I think that's the only part of the movie that I saw coming out of the whole movie.
Yeah.
that they would make out and
Well, that there was gonna be something between them, right? Like he was
Yeah.
gonna like start liking her on another level.
oh yeah, and she was gonna start liking him because he's
Yeah.
handsome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you think he's pretty handsome. Yeah, I was just talking
No,
about him as a character,
Oh, okay, yeah.
not
yeah.
how he looks.
I was like, oh, she's gonna fall for him because he's so good looking.
Quincy says she's
Quincy
gonna fall
did.
for him because I fall for him.
That's why it gets a solid 6 out of 10.
That's so true. That's so true.
He said I changed my mind. It's a 9 now.
Yeah,
I give him plus 1 more extra point.
Yeah.
Let's do a rewatch. I'll change my score. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so I guess you were saying, Mike, the ending has been confirmed.
Yeah.
That
I
it's
know.
all a dream.
But I actually appreciate knowing that because a part of me was like, did it happen? Did it not happen?
Jeremy
That
wanted
come
the
out?
happy
I
ending.
wanted the
Yeah.
happy
He
ending.
wanted the
I
happy
think
ending
I
and
think
didn't
that
get it.
plays into like how viewing it as like an American versus a parent to like Korean culture.
Mhm.
Because I'm so American that like I have
I'm
like
so
that.
American.
I'm raised like with that American mindset. It's like you can become something, right? If you try really hard, you can build
Mhm.
something for your life.
Right.
Become rich, become successful, whatever, right?
Is that only an American mindset?
Most
That's
I'm
not
not,
an
saying,
Asian culture.
I'm not saying it's an American only culture,
Yeah.
but I'm
Free
saying like
enterprise.
it's
Free
so
enterprise.
it's so ingrained into an American culture.
Mhm.
More so I feel like than any other culture. I'm not saying
Right.
that it isn't, but I feel like that's what it's a major, it's like the most major part about being American,
Right.
right?
And I think that plays like what I was saying earlier is how you portray the movie personally, right? Because personally, we invest into these characters differently. All 4 of us did.
Yeah.
So so what I'm thinking is Jeremy invested so much in these characters that he wanted it to happen. Like that is what happened because he cares about them
Yeah.
so much,
I wanted the son to become like a successful person and then get
Like we need that happy ending.
yeah.
That's the
And
American
then
way.
someone else will come and be the parasite. Then it's just a whole entire circle.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Then it's a
That's
circle.
what I was initially thinking. Like, oh, it's gonna repeat. It's gonna repeat all over again.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah.
So, what did you guys think about the party scene?
I was like, damn.
Oh,
That
I
was-
know.
That was wild.
Okay, I was like, how does nobody see a man in the back of you with freaking blood on his face?
Yeah.
He's out there.
with a knife. With a knife.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that just means like they're like all the people in that rich neighborhood, right? They live such an idealistic lifestyle, so they're kind of oblivious to
Mhm.
the rest of the world, or to all the other troubles in the world.
So I was watching this other people talk about the exact same subject we're talking about right now, and they're saying that they think they didn't notice him because the theme of the party was cowboys and Indians.
Yeah.
And because remember
Oh.
in that scene, the dad and the other dad were hiding because they were gonna have like a war, like a type of fight with each
Right,
other.
right.
So it makes sense to me now when they actually said that, is like maybe they thought he was part of it because he had blood on his face. Maybe
Right.
it represented like war paint, you know, like nobody
Yeah.
knows, you know. He
Yeah.
could have been like part of like the whole like play out,
Mm.
you know,
Yeah, the
which makes
whole
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
right, the whole role playing, right, of
Yeah, yeah.
cowboys and Indians.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
wouldn't have no reason to think otherwise, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. But what did surprise me was when the dad stabbed the other dad.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that
Wait,
shocked
okay, we
me.
got to talk about that cuz
That
I mean,
that kind of was like, what?
yeah, supposedly Anthony understood what was going on and I was
yeah,
like,
it was a smell.
no, but I understand it was the smell, but so
Yeah.
I mean, they first bring up the smell right in the car with the wife, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's taking her shopping around and because of the
No,
flood.
but the son was the one that brought it up first. The little boy.
Oh, way back. Yeah, he said
Yeah, he was the
yeah.
one that he was like, they all smell the same.
I know. Well, but I was talking about more so like, right before the party, he was driving them around
Mhm.
and then the lady was like, roll down my window because it stinks. And then he
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, oh, do I stink? And is because they didn't get to shower, right? Because of and then plus that toilet bowl was just kept spewing out like
Mhm.
like
But I think it struck a chord with the dad
Yeah.
because the time that when the wife and husband were on the couch
yeah.
and then they were talking about Mr. Kim and his smell,
Yeah.
Oh, really?
and he was under the table and then the camera like pinpoints to him under the table. So I
Oh,
think from there it struck a chord in him
yeah, yeah.
about the way they're explaining how he smells, like
Yeah.
like in the subway.
Oh, he smells like pork. I didn't even see
Yeah.
that. Gosh, I missed all these like tiny details.
And I don't think it was so much the smell. I think what resembled was the disgust of like poor people
Right,
to
Yeah.
rich
Right,
people.
right.
Yeah.
You know,
There's
and
an yeah.
I think that's what made him upset, is because
Yeah.
they think so little of them, you know.
hmm
Yeah.
And then you see it, and in the party where the daughter gets stabbed, and
Oh, I
then
know, he went
the
right
oth-
for her.
yeah, and then
Oh,
and
man.
then the other family, the dad is like, the driver needs to come with us to take
Yeah,
the boy to the hospital
Yeah.
and whatever.
And it's
But
like, oh, my
that's his
daughter. That's my
daughter.
daughter.
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
know,
but they don't
but they
know
didn't
that.
know
They
that.
don't know that,
But
right?
he's just holding there with the blood
But you
on
see
his
how the
hands.
camera is
Yeah.
focusing on him and the daughter, and then you see him how he's looking at the family and he's like, this is bullshit kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's why he goes and then he stabs him.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
big reveal was like it was a lot of emotions all over the
Yeah.
place because
Yeah.
it was like you feel bad for the family because like that's their kids, right? And then but no one else knows
No
that
one knows,
that's
yeah.
their kids. So it's like
Yeah.
you know from people looking out or out looking in, you're kind of thinking to yourself like, oh man, like why do you care about these people that you've never met before? And then you
Mhm.
the backstory is that everybody's family, they're all related.
Yeah.
So that was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of deeper meanings, deeper
I think the more you
moments.
watch it, the more you see newer things.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think it takes that type of movie for it to be an Oscar-winning movie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
'Cause
Layers,
you watch
layers.
you watch it the first time, then you know the whole entire story, right? Then you
Yeah.
go back into watching it, knowing the whole entire story.
Or
Then
details.
you start to see like what are the details coming into play,
Mhm.
for that scene, whatever.
The deeper meanings.
Yeah.
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 For sure.
Maybe that's the reason why people didn't like the movie, or people didn't think the movie deserved a picture of the year.
Best picture.
Mhm.
Yeah. Maybe it's because they just didn't see the different layers to it.
Mm.
Right? They only saw like at a surface level. It's like, okay, well, this is a foreign film, right? It portrays inequality between the rich and poor, right? And it's a good movie, but it's like,
Mhm.
oh, it doesn't deserve Oscar winning for best picture of the year. It's like,
Well, I mean, like I had mentioned before, like the movie Parasite was exactly what I expected from a Korean show or Korean drama. Like I expect those multi-layers, interconnectedness.
it
And
reminded me a lot of the other director's movie, Snowpiercer.
I've
I
never
didn't watch
watched
that.
Oh, okay, never mind. But it's basically it's kind of similar where it does portray rich and poor. Other than that, I mean, I honestly like the movie a lot.
Oh, so do
Uh,
I. Yeah, it
I
was really
mean,
good.
I think I
Yeah,
probably
I liked it
will.
too.
I mean, I probably will end up rewatching it again. It's just that I don't know if I can like rewatch it that quickly with within successions of each other because it's a heavy movie. Not gonna
Yeah.
lie, it's a really
Yeah.
heavy movie to digest. Like after
Yeah.
watching the first one, I was like I was exhausted. Like I could only watch like scenes of it on YouTube, from time to time.
Let me get a
Mm.
quick refresher.
No, it wasn't refreshers.
Thank you, YouTube.
Like I honestly okay, so I didn't understand at first, like for example, the scene with the jingle that Jessica does.
Hmm.
Right? I didn't get it at first when I first watched it, but then after the second time I just realized, oh, it's just a simple mnemonic, just so that it makes it easier for you to remember the
Yeah,
con that
yeah.
they created.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was like,
Well,
oh, okay.
what was interesting was the fact that, as being Anthony, we were watching it
Yeah.
together. He had mentioned that, um, like it's neat to see like them kind of grow through the movie, knowing that like what they're doing is wrong. So it's like they're technically like anti-heroes, right? You're not rooting for them, even though they're kind of doing all these different things.
Well, they're
And
not heroes in general.
right. Yeah, well, yeah, that's why they're
Yeah.
kind of like more like the villains, right? Like you're just watching these
Yeah.
kind of people take advantage, and you're kind of like wondering what side you should take. Like, or are you on the family side because they're super rich? Are you on the the poor family side because you can relate to them? Or the wife and the husband who are been trapped for 5 years. The husband been trapped for 5 years. Like whose angle do you take in the whole scheme of the story when there's no real hero? Like who's the hero? There's no hero.
Yeah.
That's a great topic because it's like you're right. We're so accustomed to it being a hero and a villain, right?
Yep.
But
Yeah.
but I feel like in this movie, every party is a villain. They're villains in their own way amongst each other.
Yeah.
There is no hero, like you said,
Yeah.
because it's like the rich people are treating these poor people a certain way. These poor people are treating the rich people some certain type of way. And it's like even the people that are hiding are treating both the rich
Yeah.
and the poor people a certain way.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, so I felt that was really unique where, throughout the movie I was like whose side am I on? Am I on anyone's side? Like who do I want? Like, like of course I don't want the family to get caught. I'm like, oh, don't get caught. But then you're kind of like maybe they should get caught because they just conned them out of like so much money.
Because then it also goes into play of how I said the whole planning thing.
Yeah.
Criminals plan, they
Yeah.
plan, but then in the end they get caught.
Yeah.
So that's another whole gist of the story too.
Right.
Is that no matter how much you plan on certain things,
Not
some things will
everything's
never
gonna
fall
Yeah,
through.
going according
Yeah.
to plan.
It's just like how I said it, like, for in real life, people go to school, people graduate, people go to college, people get that, they want to go to that dream job. They plan to get that dream job, but that never happens.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a very small majority that it will happen, but majority, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I was like, why are they focusing so much on in that gym talking about the plan, and then the dad bringing about about how plans don't go
The
according
son
to
is like
plan.
obsessed with the plan.
And the son is
Yeah.
just obsessed because you can see that from the beginning.
Yeah.
How the sister created, Photoshop that college
degree.
letter.
Yeah.
And then he was telling the dad like, oh, my plan, I'm gonna get into this college.
I'm gonna get this college.
But it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that's a perfect point. Like you said, like, maybe your intuition was correct where at the end of the movie, he doesn't make it because not everything goes according to plan. And that was his plan all along.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's like, just to wrap everything up now, is just like, this movie has so much meaning to it.
It does.
Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's not just a movie,
Don't just watch it one time. Watch it maybe 2 or 3 more times.
Yeah.
To just get more in depth and see more of meaning behind it. Yeah.
And just understand that there's a lot of symbols,
Symbolism.
symbolism.
A lot of symbolism.
I would also say like be open mind like about like how how people react to certain things.
Yeah.
Like for example, what people may not understand, like, oh, why would the wife try to hide hide the fact that the what does she try to hide from the husband? I forgot.
Tuberculosis, COVID-19, all that stuff. No,
No, there was something that she didn't want to tell the husband about because he would then disown her.
really?
Yeah. But it was like a very extreme reaction to like a very like for me, I thought it was like a really small problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I thought it was gonna be part where the husband was gonna accuse her
yeah.
of sleeping with the driver.
Yeah, that's what I
Because
thought
they're
at
like
first. Asking
panties
about
in
the
yeah, but like
panties after.
yeah.
He's like, hey.
And why did the other dad, the poor dad, kept questioning him like, you love her, right?
Yeah.
Oh
He's
yeah.
asking her.
Yeah.
Oh, it
But
was
like,
about the tuberculosis, about the
yeah.
maid and the maid.
Yeah, the maid.
I found that where like he didn't question her, like
Yeah. Simply just probably didn't care, right?
yeah. So I think
I love
he didn't
that
care.
hot sauce scene. Spray the
Yeah.
hot sauce. He's like, oh no.
The way they panned it to him and the
Yeah.
way he looked.
He looks so disappointed.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
actually, that was one of my favorite parts too. Was the coaching, like how he's coaching his dad. He's like, "Don't say it too confidently.
Oh yeah.
Just say it like this." He's like, "Oh, when I drive, this like it's a very high end place." And were you guys surprised to see how much the mom cleaned up really nicely? I didn't even recognize her at first. I was like, did they just switch out the actress? Because like she looks
I
like
know.
a different person.
I know.
Well, you gotta look the part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I know we're wrapping up, but I have to say that out of everybody, like looks aside, I really like the mom because the mom like did so many fun things. Like, when the first maid was coming up and she kicked her down.
Oh man.
Oh,
Yeah.
That was cool. That was badass. I was like, she's like, hey, I'm coming. And then she boom kicks
I
her.
know. I was like, shit.
Oh yeah, I was like, oh, that's gonna kill her for sure.
I thought so too. But she had a concussion and then she died, right?
Then, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The mom actually ended up being my favorite character because it was just like she's so funny. Plus, she also killed the husband too at the end. Like she was badass. You know what I mean? The one who was underground for 5 years.
Yeah.
Like she killed him, right? So, she really and she went through a lot. Like, she saw her daughter die. She lost her husband. Her son was retarded. Like he going through a lot. So.
Well, we don't know he became retarded. Just that he got brain damage.
Jeremy's just still upset about the ending.
I am.
He's like, he does become successful. We don't know if he's brain damaged.
He does get the house. I'm just letting you guys know.
He becomes successful.
It's like he will get the house in the end. He will save the dad.
I don't care what you guys say.
It will be a happy the end.
Because Jeremy's projecting. He's like, that's me. I'm the youngest son. I have plans.
I am not the youngest son.
I have plans. I want my plans to go according to plan.
I wonder if like people who watch this movie and are buying houses, like, are they?
Let's check the basement.
Yeah, I know they're gonna check it everywhere.
It's like, is this the whole house?
Yeah.
Is this
Like,
the whole
I
house?
would like to see the secret entrance.
Move that bookshelf. I want to see behind that bookshelf right now.
Why is there still a bookshelf in this house? Oh, we don't know. No reason.
That was Parasite, guys. I mean, I think we can all agree that we all thoroughly enjoyed the movie a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We may all disagree on how the ending ended, but I think in the end we
No,
all
we all agree. You don't agree.
I think we can all say that we all enjoyed it and we all had our favorite moments in the
I think we all agree and the director agrees.
but
Yeah.
there was definitely a lot of nuances and a lot of different themes that we kind of like figured we kind of figured out along the way while watching it through multiple takes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that it's been a really, really good movie experience in my book.
Awesome movie, yeah. I highly recommend it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I recommend
Me too.
definitely. Yeah.
Me too.
All right. Well, that's it, guys. If you have if you want to hear more about geek news and entertainment, follow us on metahumanentertainment.com. But let us in the comments below. do you think that the son made it, or was that all a dream? Just saying.
He won't let it go. He
Just
won't
saying.
let it go.
Just
Okay.
saying.
Jeremy's living in a dream.
All
Shake your
right.
head.
Take care, guys. See ya.
Peace.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Jeremy here with MetaHuman. If you like geek news and entertainment, then make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and hit that notification bell for more updates.